there's nothing like cracking that cellophane, pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
What's up, everyone? This is Igor Amadeus Cavalera from Go Ahead and Die. You are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Keep banging your head.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a very huge privilege to have Igor Amadeus Cavalera of Go Ahead and Die on the show. Go Ahead and Die will release their self-titled debut album June 11th via Nuclear Blast Records, and the Cavalera name is a part of the movement, the wave of music in the 80s that brought us heavy thrash death metal to light. So if you don't know Max Cavalera, then you are sadly mistaken and living under a rock. So also check out tracks Toxic Freedom and Truckload Full of Bodies from Go Ahead and Die. So Igor, how you doing, man? And welcome to the show.
Hey, John, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, definitely. I'm doing good today, staying healthy and staying sane. How about you?
Same. You've got to during this pandemic, man, or you will go insane. I mean, that's the God's honest truth.
Absolutely.
Are you guys wanting to take this out on the road eventually, or what's going on with this?
It is one of those things we do want to play it live. But it is kind of crazy to make a band during a pandemic and release an album during a pandemic and all this stuff. But it happened when it happened. It's happening now, and unfortunately, we can't play in the States and stuff. At least not without going totally DIY out of a house or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that we're gonna get the album out, gonna get the videos out, possibly do like a digital show, something like that to kick things off. But I can guarantee that as soon as shows are a commonplace thing again, you'll see us on the road. We definitely want to play this. It's a good album live. We've already played this stuff live, practicing it and whatnot. So hearing it through the like heated up amps and a live drummer and everything, like it's really cool. The album's good, but then the live set just cranks it into overdrive even a little bit more.
Could we see like a double show from your dad on this, possibly a double tour like, Kill or Be Killed or Soulfly with Go Ahead and Die maybe?
There might be double shows all over the place because all three of us that are in Go Ahead and Die so far are in other bands. So I would not say that's out of the question. I can't answer for my dad. I think it's possible, definitely. But you definitely might see my other band, Healing Magic, opening up with Go Ahead and Die. Or possibly even Zach's other band, Black Curse, or something like that. I don't think we're opposed to any of those ideas. It would just come down to scheduling and stuff like that. But it would be a lot of fun.
How long have you and Max wanted to put this project together? Because I know Max has done all kinds of shit out there, man, and you're just yourself. But how long have you guys wanted to do this?
It's kind of been an idea I've been mulling over for a couple of years. I'd say maybe even as far back as like 2018, I started thinking of it. But my dad being in 3-4 bands, however many he is right now, I lose track, honestly. Him being in all those bands keeps him pretty busy. He's on the road 8-9 months out of the year. So for, 2019, even start of 2020, it was one of those things that we wanted to do, but we're just never finding the time, the space and the freedom to link up and do it. And I've been trying to look at it as a silver lining and make the best out of the pandemic for my personal situation. And when shows got canceled, tours got canceled, I knew he was going to be free, and I knew I was going to be free. And it was one of those things that when it shut down, I called him up. I was like, hey, maybe we can try this. If it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If not, you got to think at the start of the pandemic, people thought, oh, this will be a month like this, maybe 2 months, something like that, and it'll go back to normal. here we are a year later. We still haven't played shows, still haven't been able to travel and do stuff like that. So we just took advantage of it. You know, there's only so much you can do in a situation like a pandemic because they tell you to stay home. They tell you to try to do arts and crafts at home, watch TV, you know, entertain yourself. You know, so we just took it as, let's do this thing finally. Let's crack down and write some songs and take it a little bit seriously. And before we do it, we had like a pretty cool demo, and we realized like, yeah, man, this works. We can write together. We can our voices go together. They mesh well. Everything kind of sounds cool. We like the same style of music, you know, so it like I said before, to me, it was the silver lining of the pandemic because there was so much wrong. That was one of the good things that came out of it.
So did you do anything else other than music, Igor? Get back to some of your collections or do anything else other than music?
Yeah, no, I do tons of stuff, man. I don't know if it's ADD or something, but I just always got to be doing something. So I actually, aside from music, I work on books. I really like, especially like fiction novels, like thrillers and murder mysteries and horror and stuff like that. So I write stories on the side. I collect books. I love reading, stuff like that. I'm big into video games. I like fantasy video games as well. You know, anything that's kind of, you know, immersive and takes you into it, I like. So books, video games, things like that. And then otherwise, I really like the outdoors. So that was, funny enough, one of the only other things you could do during COVID was go for a walk. You know, you couldn't go to the store. You couldn't go shop at the record store or do anything like that. So, you know, I would just go out and walk in the trees or walk around the property or something like that and just get outside. But yeah, no, I'm all over the place. I'm constantly doing stuff and having fun and learning about new things and stuff like that.
And I don't mean this in a bad way to anybody during this pandemic because I know we lost some people and it's unfortunate, but I feel like it's just Mother Nature saying, I need a break. I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? It's like she needed a break with all this stuff. But thankfully, some things are coming back, though.
Yeah, no, of course. And, you know, I think the pandemic could be an eye-opener of just cleanliness of the planet and things like that. You know, it definitely put into perspective how unprepared we are for something like this and how quickly the world can sort of strike back in a way. And, you know, I definitely just hope people learn from it and, you know what I mean, learn to take it seriously and to respect each other and stay clean. I mean, it's that simple, you know?
I want to talk about Zach Coleman, the drummer of this, because he was with Chemist and now he's with another band. How did he end up being part of Go Ahead and Die? Because he's a phenomenal drummer, in my opinion. Yeah,
no, Zach is a killer drummer. One of the best dudes out there, really underrated drummer. You know, it was actually kind of random. You know, I don't think there's any type of peculiarity to it or anything. You know, we got demos. You know, me and my dad and I, we did it with a drum machine in a 16-track. We made the demos. So they were really rough, you know, like kind of electronic, mechanical sounding. And we finished those and we liked the songs, but we were like, it needs someone to bring them to life on the drums, you know? Mm-hmm. So we just, you know, we did what you naturally do when you're looking for a band member, you know? You try to just cast the net out there, see what comes along. And it was actually Arthur Risk, who mixed and mastered the record, who told us to hit up Zach because they had worked together on the Black Curse record. And so it was, like I said, it was one of those things. Arthur put us in touch with Zach. I called up Zach. I was like, hey, man, we got this extreme record. You know, I was like, it's fast. It's kind of crusty, grindy. You know, it's all over the place. And right away, he was just super interested. And as we mentioned before, really great drummer. He came out and just shredded it. A couple days of practice, recorded it. You know what I mean? It was one of those things that once the pieces fit, it just all came together.
Police brutality influenced the lyrical content of the track Toxic Freedom and the record as a whole. How important was it to create this album and tackle what's going on since the pandemic leading up to today, or did it just kind of write itself like this?
I mean, I will say it was kind of natural, but at the same time, you know, last year for a lot of people was crazy stressful and stuff. You know, some people lost loved ones. You know, others were losing friends and losing relationships over the election and politics and things like that. And, you know, there was just a lot of division in the country. And, you know, we were just pretty frustrated with it. You know, you almost think, like, how can I do something productive, or how can I actually help this, or you know, other than donating or doing something like that, like, what more can we do? And that was when it kind of came to light. Like, let's kind of center the album on some of these topics, and let's let it out. You know, let's let out the frustration, and let's protest alongside other protesters, and let's speak up along other people speaking up. And it was important to us. It's definitely both of our ideologies and things like that. And you know, I don't think it should be any surprise to any fan of my father's that he'd write stuff like this. He's always had a track record of, you know, kind of socio-political lyrics and stuff like that. So, you know, it was one of those things. It did just kind of come naturally. We had the frustration that I guess you could say the anger was there. We just had to, like, channel it. And that's exactly what we did. That's how the album came out this way. You know, that's our actual just frustration, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and like I've said before, there are many interviews. Thank God for music, because you could express yourself on how you want to express yourself, and fuck if anybody else don't like it. You know, that's your God-given right to express yourself during that, and I thank God for it. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Music has always been a form of expression and stuff, and especially I feel like punk and metal have always been a little anti-establishment, you know, a little anti-political. You know, I personally got into bands like Discharge and Bad Brains and Doom and stuff like that when I was a kid, and that punk scene really influenced my views on equality and acceptance and things like that. And so, you know, it was one of those things. It was like there's all these current events going on. So we channeled it that way, but this is definitely, these are views we've had our whole lives, and have thought this way, you know, since I got into punk, since my dad got into punk. You know, I'm sure he'd say something similar. You know, once it roots you kind of can't go back, you know, and that's why when it came time to write this record, it just, you know, pieces fell into place. We had things we wanted to say, and we weren't going to hold back, and we tried to represent it the best way that we could. You know, we always tried to, even if it was a dark song, or maybe because of the riffs and stuff, it comes off as a little dark. The underlying message is positive, and the underlying message is one of protest and acceptance and all those things. So, yeah, you know, it's great. And I think the more people that speak up about it, the more people are going to feel comfortable approaching it, you know, and not only that, but even just as the band, you know, people will feel safe at our shows. People will feel like we're not going to have bigots and fascists and shit like that running around at our shows. You know, it's, you know, we want to make it a safe place. If you want to mosh, cool. If you want to stage dive, cool. But you should never be picking on someone for their skin color or their gender or their background or whatever, you know. We're all welcome to get into metal and punk. I think, you know, I think the more people that voice this, the more we're just going to bring in and you know, raise awareness and actually do something. That's exactly right. Were these songs that had already been written previously, or are these all brand new songs from you guys? It was all fresh. Okay. I very much made that a point. My dad has, I would say, a couple hundred, possibly thousands hours of cataloged stuff that he just comes up with all the time. And I was worried if we dived too much into that. And even I'm the same way. I record riffs every other day, you know. And, you know, I was worried if we dive too much into stuff like that, it might start getting a little overpowered by one of us or the other. So I was really insistent on let's come up with it just each day as we go, right from nothing to something, you know, to keep it like fresh and original and not sounding like anything else that we're doing. Working with your dad on this album, was it easy to bounce ideas off of him, what guitar riffs you wanted to do and leads you both wanted to do possibly? Absolutely. He's worked with a lot of talented musicians over the years. He knows how to, I guess you could say, collaborate on energy and stuff like that. And I think he had fun with it because, with Soulfly, he writes like 95% of the music or whatever. With Cavalera Conspiracy, it's the same. So I think it was fun for him to have someone else coming up with ideas and someone else pitching stuff, because he totally did let me have freedom and let me kind of just both of us bounce off the wall with each other,
And plus, you being his son and plus being younger, you probably put a spark under his ass, you know what I mean? Because it makes it more fun and more challenging,
Definitely. Yeah, no, like I said, he's got tons of riffs, and I think there was 1 or 2 days where we were getting kind of towards the end. He's like, hey, I got some of these if we want to just, get these last couple songs. And I was like, nope, we're going to come up with some stuff, we're going to. And even with lyrics, he'll say this himself. We actually did an interview together last night, and he said it, but he hates writing lyrics. He's never really liked writing lyrics. Maybe it has something to do with him translating them from Portuguese to English when he was a kid. That might have made it annoying for him or something, but he doesn't really like lyrics. And so when it came time for lyrics, I was the one kind of editing and doing stuff. And like I said, I write books and stuff, so I got a pretty keen eye for stuff like that. And he'd write some stuff and it would be good, but I would point out little things to him like, hey, you used this word twice. Let's just change the description word on one of these lines. Or, hey, let's, you're using that word again, or whatever, stuff like that. But, I think we tried to challenge each other. Because like I said, we're both different musicians. Where I would maybe push him with the lyrics or to come up with stuff fresh. He would kind of push my guitar playing style a little bit because I've always been more of a, I don't know, I've always been kind of more into the sludge, like groovy side of playing, being a rhythm player, And this was one of the first bands where I did like, lots of tremolo picking and triplets and things like that, like really fast guitar playing. So, that was something that he definitely pushed me to incorporate more. And, so I think at the end of the day, we taught each other and we kind of like got each other motivated and fired up a little bit from time to time, so it was tons of fun.
So as a band, were you all a little nervous releasing this album right now since bands can't tour? Or would you guys just said, no, let's get it out there, let's get it relevant and get our name out?
It was kind of a balance of both because, obviously if you can tour with your release, that's the best thing you can do. That's going to give you tons of promotion and push your record to people that might have otherwise not heard of you and stuff like that. But at the same time, because of I guess you could say the turmoil and the craziness of right now, we were also like, we need to get this out while things are kind of still crazy too. Cause it just, if that vibe gets lost, the vibe of the album will kind of get lost a little bit too.
Sure. So
I think it's safe to say we're still in the turmoil. Not everything has gotten fixed, and I think it will be even a couple years before it's fixed. Some of these things get resolved. But it is one of those things we wanted to get it out while there was still kind of that heat in the air, so to speak.
Sure. What's impressed or excited you the most, Igor, about making this debut album, if anything, man? What sticks out the most for you?
I really, really liked my vocal approach that I did. I've had I guess I started doing this when I was 15 and I'm about 26 now. So my voice has changed a lot over the years. And, I've gone from a scrappy, little kid who didn't really know how to do vocals to, like I can belt out really sick, high pitched screams and stuff like that I do all over this record. And, that was definitely something I'm just proud of. I think vocally, and lyrically, the album's really cool. It's aggressive and it sounds good, and it was just fun to create.
I know these are your guys' babies, but are there any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the album? I know it must change every time, but do you have any that stick out for you? I know it's hard to choose, but do you?
No, totally, man. I really I love Isolated Desolated. That's I think the 4th song on the record. Got a really cool, like old school death metal with kind of groove, mixed in there as well. It's got a really cool dynamic going on. Punisher is a really cool song too. Really fast and blistering and brutal. It's got a lot of like really low guttural kind of vocals and stuff like that. So that's a really good song in my opinion. And last I'll go with the self-titled one, GAAD, Go Ahead and Die. The idea with that was to do kind of like the song Black Sabbath from the band Black Sabbath, from the album Black Sabbath type thing. Mm-hmm. We wanted to have our own type of thing like that, so we put a self-titled one on the self-titled record. And then once again, the song itself is really good. It has some of my favorite riffs. It's more in like the mid-tempo pocket, which is cool because this record is definitely primarily fast. So I do like when we get into a couple of these grooves, and on the title track, we definitely have a little bit more just like crunchiness. There's like cool guitar hooks and stuff like that. So definitely one of my favorite songs.
Was there a song that you guys were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to?
Totally. Yeah, one of them that I just mentioned, Isolated Desolated, we had a demo version of it. And when we got a live drummer there, we realized, like, wow, we could really, patch this up a little bit. Because, with the drum machine, you have to kind of go around what you exactly want to make the computer work, And so when we had a real drummer, we totally changed that one up. We structured it a little bit different. And I think there's one or two, but that's the one I can remember got the most. Like, if you were to hear the demo and hear this version, it's almost like two different songs.
Now, the album was engineered by Charles Elliott and plus mixed by Arthur Rizek. How was working with these gentlemen on this album?
Charles was cool. He captured the essence of what we wanted. It was one of those things we kind of came in and we were like, hey, we want drums this way. We want guitars kind of chainsaw-y, vocals abrasive and a little distorted. And, he did a good job just being there to capture it and give us what we want. And then, Arthur, he's a wizard with his mixes and stuff like that. That dude, I don't know how he does it, but he gets everything he does, especially because he works with so many old school sounding bands, but he's so good at getting an album to sound natural and almost like a late 80s, early 90s record. So I was really happy with what Arthur did at the, I guess you say, like post-production. He really made it sparkle.
The artwork for the album was created by Stuart Easton, while the circle logo was created by Jeff Walker of Carcass. These gentlemen, did they capture exactly what you guys were looking for?
Yeah, in my opinion, they did. Stuart did a killer cover, and I believe he did all the inner artwork and stuff too, like lyric pages and things like that. So he did capture it. It is a politically based record. It's kind of like a punk record with metal elements, or the other way around, a metal record with punk elements. So to have that type of to cover, with these like demonized police officers holding a kid down and stuff like that. I think it fits the music really well, and I think it fits the era that we're kind of trying to go for, like bands like Napalm Death and stuff like that. And then getting on to Jeff Walker, who actually did the Napalm Death Scum cover, that was a complete surprise to us. We actually still to this day don't know exactly who orchestrated that. We think it was some type of shadow work at Nuclear Blast, but I'm not positive. But we literally woke up one day and had the emails of the logos, and they were like, hey, Jeff did it for you guys. I think maybe they showed him a song or something. He thought it was cool, and he was like, I'll do it for him. It's an old school record. Let's have some fun. So I was beyond humbled. I'm a big Carcass fan. Jeff's a really nice dude. I've had the chance of meeting him once. Really cool guy, really funny, witty, hilarious. And to have him get involved, even if it's just the logo, that's what people will see. That's what they'll recognize, So I would, beyond humbled to have him.
And look what your dad has done for music, man. He's he's well respected on what he's brought to the table to add to this music of buffet of stuff, as I should say. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
God bless you all, honestly.
No, thank you. No, definitely. We couldn't do it without all the support, you know what I mean, of doing press, of having fans, of all that stuff. You know, it does, you know, people might not realize it, but every little bit that you do to help the band helps us as people and stuff too.
Yeah.
So no, thank you. You know, thank you for the kind words.
I've not said this in a very long time, and I've not seen this in a long time, but do you see this album being today's thrash metal punk anarchy album, possibly?
I mean, I certainly think it could be, you know. It's a little scary to make any claims, you know. But I will say that I'm confident in the record, and I do think 10 years from now it'll be a record that people look back on and are like, wow, these guys were pissed off. And if you look at the year, you'll see all the stuff going on and whatnot. And you know, so I'll leave it for people to decide, but I do think it'll stand the test of time. I do think it's a good record, and you know, just like people enjoy stuff from 89, 90, 91, I think 20 years from now people will enjoy this.
Yeah, and I like these two singles that you guys have released, because I'm not saying this just because you're on here. I mean, I honestly mean this. I can hear the conviction behind the vocals and just the music pouring out. I mean, you could tell that this is exactly what these guys are saying. This is exactly what these guys believe in, and it's good, man. So kudos to you guys on this so far.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's all from the heart, man. We never try to fake music. You know, if you hear anger, if you hear frustration, if you hear stuff like that, it's there. You know, it's coming out of us. And I'm glad that it impacts people, you know. I'm glad they can hear it and feel it.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to this self-titled album in general? What do you hope they get from it, man?
I hope just to open up their mind. You know, I hope that they hear this and they look into what we're talking about and they feel compassion for it. And, you know, I had someone ask me, what would you tell a police officer who is listening to this record? And I would tell them to rethink how they're a police officer, rethink that system that they keep working for and contributing to, you know. And if you are a police officer, call out bad police officers.
Yes, sir.
You know,
yes, sir.
And that's the best thing that they could do, you know. And same for everyone. If you have a different political view and you hear this record, instead of just hating us right away, try and look into what we're talking about. Try to see how we are as people and try to understand that. You know, what we're supporting might not be so evil of a cause.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know you had a lot of music growing up, but did you have just that one go-to album or song, Igor, that you had to have that gave you inspiration or let you get away for a while? Did you have just that one go-to album or song, maybe?
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, there's millions, but right off the top of my head, I have to go with Neurosis, To Crawl Under One's Skin from the album Souls at Zero. It's like the angriest song ever. And it's just, you know, when you're feeling worked up, when you're feeling frustrated, stressed out, that song is always good to just like blow off some steam too.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Go Ahead and Die's self-titled debut album. Comes out June 11th via Nuclear Blast Records. Please get out and pick this album up and support these guys. Igor, how can folks stay in touch with you all, buy this new album, merchandise, tour dates, when this all happens? How can they do that, sir?
Definitely just follow us on all of our social medias. Go Ahead and Die as multi-social media. My other band, Healing Magic, has all that stuff. I have a personal Facebook under my name, Amadeus Cavalera. So if you ever want to reach out to me, you can write there. I do my best to reply and you know, stay tuned in with the fans and stuff like that. But yeah, album's out June 11th. There's going to be a whole bunch of videos and content and different packaged ways to get the album and stuff. You know, there's a bunch of vinyls and cassette and stuff like that. So yeah, just keep your eyes out for it. And hopefully by the end of the year, early next year, we'll be hitting the road. So you'll be able to see us live.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. What's up, everyone? This is Igor Amadeus Cavalera from Go Ahead and Die. You are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Keep banging your head.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Hour Podcast. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link. You definitely want to subscribe to our YouTube link because we're going to be giving away some awesome stuff. So Also, get out and check out Go Ahead and Die. Pick up their self-titled album that comes out June 11th via Nuclear Blast Records. Support these guys. Give them a chance. And I swear, folks, you will not be disappointed. Open your ears. Igor, man, I wish you guys nothing but the best on this.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much for the kind words and having me on the show, John. It was a lot of fun.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.